Hi again, Mark here from Talkingbass. So today I'm going to give you a simple breakdown of an essential slap technique that you all need to master if you want to learn any grooves or fills by guys like Louis Johnson, Mark King, Stanley Clarke or Les Claypool. I'm talking about the percussive fretting hand slap. It's that secret sauce for getting that locomotive style slap groove that sounds like this. Or it's the must-know technique for playing those machine gun triplet licks that sound like this. So I've touched on it a few times in other videos, but today we'll get laser focused on the nuts and bolts of the technique and the reasons that you're going to be finding it difficult when getting started. And yes, I'm going to help you overcome that annoying hammer-on problem. So first things first, what is the fretting hand slap? Well, all we're doing is slapping down with the fretting hand to get a percussive ghost note. What's a ghost note? Well, it's a dead note that would ordinarily sound like this, but using the fretting hand slap, we get this. So, because this slap is very percussive, we can alternate it with slapped notes to help us think more like a drummer. Just think of this as two drumsticks, right, left, right, left. We've got the two hands on the bass here, so again we can play right, left, right, left. So we can think more rhythmically and more percussively to get these kind of riffs. So, we have to whack down the left hand onto the fretboard to give us that percussive sound, but I'm guessing that quite a few of you out there are going to run into a very common problem. Whereas the slap should sound like this, you might be hearing more of this. You'll be getting an actual hammer-on, an actual note there. And this is really, really common, and I know it's a result of telling people to whack the hand onto the fretboard. You know, you ask someone to whack the hand onto the fretboard, and that's what they're going to do. They're going to push the fingers down. But pushing is the wrong action. We don't want a hammer-on at all. We don't want to press the string against the fretboard. What we want is more of a light strike. And I've got just the remedy to help you out. So here we're going to make use of my good old home position that I talk about all the time. For this, I want you to lay the index finger lightly against the A, D, and G strings, roughly around the 5th fret. You can do it at any fret, but we're going to be in position for some notes later in the video. So just lay it there, roughly around that 5th fret, and when you do this, and you slap those strings, you're probably going to get some ghost note harmonics. So if I was to pick, you're going to get that, slapping it, pretty much harmonics in there. And what we're doing here is we're locking those strings down, okay, and we're muting them. So next, lay the rest of the fingers across the strings. And that's going to give you a very safe position to work from. When you slap any of the strings now, you're just going to get ghost notes. And, you know, we're holding the bass down in a very safe position. We're not going to get any residual noise. So that's our default starting home position. Okay, so now what we're going to do is slap the open E string. So if you're in home position there, those fingers are laid lightly across the strings. You want to simultaneously raise the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th fingers. So we're keeping that index locked down there. And slap that open E. Okay, so we do that simultaneously. So both at the same time. So, okay, so raise those fingers and slap down. Then, to choke the notes off, we just return to home position. So we just bring those fingers back to the starting position. So, and then choke. So the key here is to keep that index finger laid lightly across that A, D, and G string in place. Now, as you move between the open E and the choke, you might notice a little percussive sound as the fingers return. They're hitting that E string there, and that is the left-hand slap that we're looking for. If you're not getting it, just use a little more force. So, you know, you could bring the fingers down just enough, very lightly, to choke it. But ordinarily, when you bring them down, we're going to get a little bit more of that percussive thwack. Okay, so we're not pressing down. None of that. We're just coming back to home position. And the fingers actually making contact with that E string will be enough to give you that left-hand slap. So we're basically using an in-out motion with those fingers, and once you have it, you won't understand how you couldn't play it before, but it is one of those things that can take a little practice to achieve correctly. Okay, now let's put that left-hand slap into practice. So let's just try a really simple Mark King style groove using a really common pattern that you'll hear time and time again in slap grooves like love games. The groove is going to sound like this. So the action that we're going to use here is a 3-note figure on an open E string of slap. So we've got the open E there, then left hand slap, so then we leave the hand there and then we slap with the right hand to give us that ghost note. So open string, fretting hand slap, and then just standard slap with the ghost note. Okay, so we've got that 3-note figure. So you just want to go round and round on that figure until you've got that down and you've got, the muscle memory down. So we've got just work it up to speed until you got it up to about that speed, and then you can start incorporating it into grooves. So we play that figure 4 times before just playing an open string, then the left hand slap, so just a 2-note figure there. And then we move onto the A string and have D to E. So we slap and then hammer on. Okay, so 5th fret to 7th fret. So okay, so I'm using the 1st and 4th fingers there for the D to the E. And this is where placing that index finger over the 5th fret comes into play. So we did that while we were getting used to the home position. Well, we're in position ready to just press down, have the D to the E, and then we're back. Okay, so very slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the end there is a 4-note figure, basically. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So just a little word on the rhythm there. As much as we're playing a 3-note figure, it's not a triplet. We're actually playing 16th notes, so we've got this kind of cross rhythm there. So it's a little bit syncopated. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Normally with 16th notes, it's going to be 1 E and a 2 E and a, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But we're playing 3s against it. So even though it seems like a very straightforward pattern of 3s, we're playing a kind of 3 against 4 rhythm. So start that riff really, really slow and then just build up speed. Now let's see how far we can go with this technique with a look at a couple of machine gun triplet licks that you'll hear played by guys like Les Claypool and Stu Hamm. First, we have the basic triplet that sounds like this. So we begin this lick in home position, and we're going to be in the same fretboard position as we were for the previous riff. So we've got that index finger there held down over the 5th fret, and this time we're actually going to press down. So we're barring it across those 3 strings. And we start the lick, we've just got 3 notes. We're going to start with a pop of the G string, so that's going to be the D there up at the top. Then we have fretting hand slap, bringing those 3 fingers down. Okay, so we're getting that motion. And then we slap the D at the 5th fret of the A string. And that's it, okay? Now, this lick, even though, once you've got it down, it'll seem really, really simple. It'll seem really straightforward. But when you begin playing it, it can be really, really difficult. Just getting the actual motion down. As you start to build up speed, you'll probably, get all finger twisted and want to give up. But just persevere, and eventually you will get it. This is exactly the same principle as on drums, learning triplets around the kit, where you might have something like tom, bass, drum, snare, or vice versa. You're just moving around the kit. You'll hear that lick over and over again, and it just takes a lot of getting used to the muscle memory, and that's what we have here. So, very slowly. So just try it that speed or slower. Now you'll notice that as I play this, that A string there is ringing out. Now you can just mute them off, so you don't have to press down with the index finger. And when you start to get this to build up speed, you don't have to be, really ringing out that A string either. So a lot of this starts to turn into a more percussive line. So just start out slow and then just gradually build up speed. Once you get to about that speed, you'll feel like you can just speed up as much as you want. So you just start to build up more and more and more, and eventually that action just becomes second nature. And like I said, you can just play it as percussive notes, just as ghost notes, just by holding the finger lightly against the A, D, and G string. And you will hear this lick quite a bit in solos, things like that by Les Claypool. If you listen to the Tommy the Cat solo, there's a bit of it in there, although that's more of the lick I'm about to show you. But you'll hear guys like Stu Ham use this. You also have a variation on this by people like Mark King. So yeah, just get that action down and then everything will start to seem a lot easier after that. Lastly, as a variation on that lick, we can play a 6-figure triplet lick that's reminiscent of the Les Claypool solo in Tommy the Cat that I just mentioned. And that's going to sound more like this. So the previous triplet lick, and now with the 6-figure. So we're doubling up with the thumb. So for this lick, we start with exactly the same triplet that we just learned. So the pop, fretting hand, and then slap. But then for the second 3 notes, so 4, 5, 6 in the 6-note figure, we're going to have slap, then we're going to have the fretting hand slap, and then normal slap. So, okay? So we put all of that together. So see what happens when you add those two together. You actually get 2 slaps in the middle. You get 2 thumbs. So, okay. Probably best to learn it that way, actually, because, when I originally learned this, I was learning it as this group of 6, but you very quickly start to realize that we have this double thumb in the middle. So just try that to begin with. So pop, fretting and slap, 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 and then just fretting and slap, slap. So that's the whole of the lick, and this one is quite a bit tougher than the previous one because there's a little bit more going on in the thumb, and you've got to get used to the pattern. But once you've got it down, trust me, you start incredibly slow, you just keep going round and round on it, hour after hour after hour, and eventually you will have it, okay? So, starting incredibly slow. Once you have both of those triplet lines down, you can try moving between both of them by playing the 6-note lick 3 times and then the 3-note lick twice, which sounds like this. Okay, so that's the beauty of the left-hand slap. Please like this video, subscribe, and leave a comment below to let me know what other techniques you'd like me to break down. Remember, there are over 600 videos here on the channel already, so be sure to search through the Talkingbass lessons for some more good stuff. Also, the lesson material is available to view over at the Talkingbass website, so just click that link in the info below, and while you're there, sign up for the totally free membership to gain access to a huge amount of practice resources and downloads, as well as the forums, the chat groups, and the premium courses. Okay? I'll see you next week.